We finally now have the reveal of Bakunawa, which is the name for Project Purple and the new upcoming roller coaster slated for 2027 at Six Flags Great Adventure. Bakunawa is going to be the world's first floorless spinning coaster, the world's first upside down launch, and more aboard only at Six Flags Great Adventure. According to the stats released from Great Adventure, Bakunawa currently will be standing at 382 feet with speeds of around 100 miles per hour. They have mentioned that the total ride cycle is going to be 2 minutes and 17 seconds, and the maximum bank will be around 180 degrees. Another thing crazy too about this ride is no ride you're getting on is going to be the same as the one prior. Once you reach the top where you will be banking, you will either bank looking down, looking up, or even looking sideways. And to me, that's the most crazy part and really could feature a crazy moment that has not been captured from any roller coaster before. That's what makes it so special to have this coming to the local home park. So basically, everything I've said has pretty much summarized about what this ride is going to deliver and how unique it's going to be for not just Great Adventure, but for the theme park industry in general. So I kind of wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts on this. So let's start with the name, obviously, and that is Bakunawa. I actually really dig Bakunawa. I don't think you needed to add something that adds a crazy length for the name, like Bakunawa Curse or Bakunawa's like Wrath or something like that. I think Bakunawa is short, simple, and it just works as a whole for this ride. And to me, I do think it is a better choice than what others have really believed, which is the Phantom Spire or the Gargantuan Vertical Vengeance.
What the is this piece of shit?
I really do think that also ties in very well into the theming. Now, a very big thing that I am curious about, and it's going to be the biggest thing I'm going to look at when this ride pretty much opens up and how it evolves after its big vertical construction, which is now done, is how it's going to be themed. I really am curious to see how Great Adventure is going to tackle the immersive experience when it comes to theming for these rides. Taking, for example, we have Dorney Park and Carowinds, which are two parks I've been to recently. And those two parks really go crazy with its theming. Dorney did a great job with like Iron Menace, Possessed. I would say they even did a great job too with other rides, such as Hydra. Like, there are a lot of stuff there, and going to Carowinds, Fury is another good ride that feels immersive, and Copperhead Strike was one that I was very much impressed with. So, to me, the biggest thing that I'm going to be curious about is how they're going to put a big emphasis on the legend of Bakunawa and how the sea serpent is now pretty much drawn to the Shoreline Pier area. I really do think that they have something very interesting that they could use, and I'm very curious to see how they're going to tackle it and how they're going to implement it, not just throughout the ride, but through the queue. Quite frankly, before Shoreline Pier, there really wasn't great theming for rides. I think Flash had a little bit of a hint towards that, but there was so much promise and it wasn't really delivered, I would say. And that's the thing that kind of sucks with a lot of rides at the park, is there's a lot of potential, there's a lot of promise towards its theming and how immersive it could be when getting on the ride. It's never lived up to. And I really do hope that Bakunawa is a new example of what the future will look like going forward for Great Adventure. Because to me, I do think that this ride has a lot of potential with its name and a lot of its history behind, the sea serpent that's basing itself upon. Now, when taking a look, though, mainly through the layout has always stayed the same. I mean, I don't think I've really ever seen a roller coaster that gets finished and then gets announced after. But we are now here, and the POV doesn't necessarily surprise me. It is very much on par or similar to other people's recreations of what they predicted this ride to look like. However, there's one thing that I do think not anyone has really gotten right, and that is the floorless trains, because this ride is really one of a kind and its new model by Mock Rides, which is that it's a floorless train. I do dig the trains. I think the trains are very cool, and I do think it is going to add a whole nother level of how scary that this ride's going to be, which is something I really wanted to talk about. I can't necessarily say if I'm a big coaster enthusiast, but I am someone who is an adrenaline junkie and loves to go on roller coasters. So there is a little bit of love to like rides in general, and I still feel like I'm in the startup of it. And I remember growing up how much of a presence Kingda Ka had and how scary that looked. If I was growing up and looking at that ride and seeing how that stall was going to be at the very top, where you could look straight at the ground, I would be pretty scared, if I'm not gonna lie to you. It is absolutely insane, the degree and banking that you're going to be experiencing. And as someone who just went on a mock rides itself, Copperhead Strike, the lap bar that's there is the same exact kind of lap bar that is on this ride, where it is going to be the only thing holding you. So it really is going to add a whole nother level of experience towards what you're going to be feeling when you get on that. It's either you're going to be facing up, staring at the sky. The only thing that's holding you is like your seat like this. So to me, I really do think that people who are looking to go into rides, and Great Adventure's their home park, and they get on all these great thrill rides, this is going to be the big thing that they're going to look at. Kind of like how the last generation of people, including myself, looked at Kingda Ka as that leap of faith to breaking your fear. This is what this ride's going to be. So it's super exciting to kind of see this, as a lot of people have really been drawing this as a way of like being a replacement to Ka, when it really isn't looked at like that. To me and to a lot of people, they see this as a spiritual successor, and I do think that this thing is a great successor, and sue me, I think it could be a better ride than Ka itself. At the end of the day though, I really do think that having a ride like this and having something as gigantic and something that's just unique coming back to Great Adventure really means a lot. I've been near Great Adventure for a very long time, pretty much nearly my whole life, and I'm still around the area. And as a Great Adventure local, I'm just very excited to be having this opportunity to getting on a ride like this. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be scary, it's going to be nerve-wracking, but it is going to be an exhilarating experience. So personally, I'm really excited for Bakunawa. I'm going to be definitely keeping an eye on how it's going to evolve, especially before it opens. That's really all I have to say about Bakunawa. I think it's going to be a sick ride, and hopefully people get the chance to experience it and be that new image for Great Adventure. Overall, that's really about it for Bakunawa. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section of what you think of this ride and how do you feel, and are you going to be getting on this when it opens in spring 2027. Thank you guys so much for checking in, and I'll see you in the next one.